The FBI possesses enhanced images of porch guy that are sharper, clearer, and far more revealing than anything the public has ever been allowed to see. Investigators have reportedly had access to those images since February. Yet they have never released them. Not a single frame, not a crop segment, not even a close-up of the eyes or jawline. Jennifer Coffindaffer spent more than 2 decades inside the FBI. She understands exactly how the Bureau manages evidence in a major national investigation. She knows when public disclosure can move a case forward and when it can damage an investigation. And this week, she offered an observation that changes the way many people view where this case may actually stand. According to Coffindaffer, there is only one logical explanation for why the FBI would possess enhanced images of the suspect and still refuse to share them publicly. Just one. They may already know who he is. If that assessment is correct, if investigators have already identified Porch Guy and are quietly assembling a prosecutable case, then the entire investigation looks very different from the picture the public has been given so far. But that was not the only revelation Coffindaffer discussed. She also raised questions about the ransom notes that investigators have been analyzing for months. Specifically, she highlighted a possibility that could fundamentally alter assumptions about who authored them. In her view, the notes point toward a very particular kind of offender. Subscribe for continuing updates and turn on notifications, because the connections that follow tie together pieces of this case in a way that few others have laid out publicly. It begins with what investigators discovered inside Nancy Guthrie's home. On the evening of January 31, 2026, Nancy Guthrie returned home through her garage at approximately 9:50 p.m. She had spent the evening with relatives enjoying dinner and card games, a routine family gathering for an 84-year-old woman who had lived in the same Catalina Foothills residence for decades. The garage door shut behind her. From that point until approximately midday the following day, there is no independently verified evidence confirming Nancy Guthrie was still alive. What investigators later found inside the home tells a story, and it is not the story of a random burglary gone wrong. There were reportedly no indications of a struggle inside. Sources who spoke with multiple media outlets have consistently emphasized this point. The living room appeared untouched. The kitchen appeared untouched. No overturned furniture. No broken possessions. No evidence suggesting that an elderly woman had fought a violent attacker anywhere within the home. Her phone remained behind. Her purse remained behind. Her wallet and other personal belongings were exactly where she had left them. The blood was found outside on the front porch and stone steps. DNA testing confirmed it belonged to Nancy. Meanwhile, according to statements made publicly by her daughter Savannah, rear doors had been propped open. Reports from veteran crime journalist Ashley Banfield indicated that flower pots from the property had been deliberately moved to hold multiple exits open simultaneously. Viewed together, these facts create a distinct picture. No struggle inside, blood outside, doors held open from within, personal belongings left untouched. This was not someone entering the home to steal valuables. Nothing was taken. The objective appears to have been Nancy herself. Whoever entered that residence moved with enough confidence and familiarity to know where to go, what to avoid, and how to leave. Coffindaffer has repeatedly emphasized this point. In her assessment, the offender understood the layout of the home, understood Nancy's routine, and understood that an elderly woman who removed her hearing aids at night would be especially vulnerable. That observation forms the foundation of everything else. The ransom notes represent the point where this case shifts from troubling to highly calculated. 2 separate notes emerged after Nancy disappeared. One was sent to a Tucson media organization on February 2nd. Another arrived at TMZ on February 3rd. Both demanded payment in Bitcoin. 4 months. Many assumed the notes came from an opportunist seeking money, or perhaps from someone with no genuine connection to the crime. Coffindaffer challenged that assumption. She suggested the notes may have been generated using artificial intelligence. According to her, TMZ reporting had hinted at the same possibility. Why would that matter? The FBI maintains specialists in linguistic analysis. These experts examine writing patterns, grammar habits, punctuation choices, capitalization quirks, sentence structure, and stylistic tendencies. In many cases, those characteristics function almost like a fingerprint. AI changes that equation. artificial intelligence can generate polished text with proper grammar and standardized structure while removing many of the personal markers investigators rely on. As Coffindaffer framed it, if AI was used, it effectively stripped away one of the FBI's most valuable identification tools. Think about what that implies. A typical street criminal does not sit down and intentionally craft ransom communications through AI to avoid forensic linguistic examination. That behavior suggests planning. It suggests forethought. It suggests someone who understood investigative methods well enough to work around them before sending a single message. That observation eliminates an entire category of suspects. The impulsive offender begins to look less likely. The drifter becomes less likely. What remains is an individual who is organized, informed, and capable of thinking several steps ahead. Coffindaffer has also stressed that the sophistication reflected in the ransom notes does not seem to match the individual captured on the doorbell camera. Porch Guy appeared awkward at times. He manipulated the camera in a clumsy manner. He held a flashlight in his mouth. He used leaves to obstruct a lens, rather than disabling the device cleanly. Her conclusion is straightforward. The person seen on camera may not be the person who designed the operation. Once you consider the possibility that the ransom notes were intentionally crafted to defeat forensic analysis, every other aspect of the crime begins to look different as well. The planning extends far beyond the notes themselves. Consider the phones, or more accurately, the absence of them. When investigators conducted geofence analysis around the neighborhood, they reportedly found no obvious suspect device moving through the area during the relevant time frame. No suspicious phone signal. No identifiable digital trail. Former investigators have pointed to what appears to be an antenna visible in footage from the scene, suggesting the possible use of two-way radio communication rather than cell phones. That distinction matters. Phones leave records. They connect to towers. They create timelines. Radios do not. If offenders communicated via radio while leaving their phones elsewhere, they effectively removed one of the most common investigative pathways. Again, that is not the behavior of someone acting impulsively. It is the behavior of someone who understood exactly how investigators reconstruct events using modern digital evidence. The camera evidence raises similar questions. Residents in the Catalina foothills reported unusual disruptions involving residential surveillance systems around the time Nancy disappeared. Experts consulted regarding those reports noted that portable Wi-Fi jamming devices could potentially produce such effects. If jamming equipment was used, it would suggest advanced preparation and familiarity with residential security technology. It would mean the offender arrived already anticipating camera systems and already equipped to interfere with them. Nancy's own Nest doorbell camera appears to have been handled carefully. Rather than smashing it, the individual approached quietly, avoided another camera mounted higher on the structure, examined the device, and then covered the lens using nearby vegetation. That approach minimized noise and avoided attracting attention. According to Coffindaffer, the same camera may have recorded someone visiting the property prior to the abduction. Family members were specifically encouraged to think back to January 11th. Brian Enton later reported that investigators considered that date significant. Coffindaffer characterized the earlier appearance as a possible rehearsal. A trial run weeks before the crime suggests surveillance, preparation, and reconnaissance. It implies that someone spent time learning the property before acting. And strangers rarely invest that level of effort unless they have a compelling reason. The equipment seen on Porch Guy tells a similar story. Reports identified the backpack as a Walmart's old Ozark Trail hiking pack. The holster was also an inexpensive retail item. Yet observers noted that the backpack appeared heavily loaded. The gloves appeared robust and protective. Taken together, the picture is striking. Gloves intended to avoid leaving evidence, communication methods that leave no cellular records, possible surveillance countermeasures, reconnaissance visits, and ransom notes potentially crafted to defeat linguistic profiling. Every component points in the same direction. Planning, preparation, intentional design. And according to Coffindaffer, that design may not belong to the man captured on camera. The individual visible in the footage may have been carrying out a plan developed by someone else entirely. Which brings the discussion back to the enhanced images. The footage was reportedly sent to Quantico, where the FBI has access to advanced imaging technology capable of extracting details invisible to the public. Coffindaffer has repeatedly stated that investigators almost certainly possess a much clearer view of Porch Guy than anything released publicly. So why keep it hidden? Her answer remains the same. If she were managing the case and still needed help identifying an unknown suspect, she says she would push aggressively for public distribution. Billboards, regional campaigns, widespread exposure. That is what agencies do when they need leads. The FBI has not done that. And in Coffindaffer's view, there is only one logical explanation for withholding a superior image rather than using it to generate tips. Investigators may already believe they know who they are looking at. If they already have a likely identity, releasing a clearer image could serve only one purpose: alerting the suspect. Instead, investigators would stay quiet, continue gathering evidence, and move only when they believe the case is ready for court. Coffindaffer has been careful to note that no public evidence confirms the FBI has identified Porch Guy. Her conclusion is based on investigative behavior, not leaked information. But after months of silence, she believes the silence itself may be meaningful. And that possibility changes the way many people see this case.